Welcome back to the 10-minute talks on the World History Workbook. We are still in the section on universals and looking at pages 47 through 57. 47 to 57. I'm going to put these three sections together on languages and literature and myth. So people are related. Genealogically, people are related. People are related by culture as well. Language kind of covers both of those. All people have language. All societies have language, and all people have languages. That seems obvious. So that's a universal. And all languages descend from the same language. That's the same language. That means all languages are essentially the same languages in the same way that we're all the same people. Not all the same person, but all the same people. And literature also has common themes. So people share language, they share languages, they share themes of languages. The first part of this on page 47 simply discusses that idea, how language, culture, and people are often really shared terms. They mean basically the same thing, or essentially the same thing. And it shows both the difference and the similarities between cultures and societies. Then Project 9 is it's another very simple project. It's not demanding, but it's instructive to show. It's designed to show the students that themes within literature can be universal. There are universal themes, and this one that's identified in the text is the pain of separation. Not only do humans suffer from being separated from their people or their culture or their society or their language for that matter. Any of you who have been away from your mother language or your native language for any period of time know that it can really be a disoriented and lonely kind of experience, just like missing a person. But humans express that, which kind of makes us humans. It's sort of that humans take that pain and that suffering, and they write songs about it, and they write plays about it, and they do dances about it, and they create religious issues about it. There are religious scholars I have read who believe that the whole function of religion in human society is to bridge the separation between humans and God, and to bring us back home, or to bring us closer to our origins, or to the divine, or to the spirit within us, or that humans suffer from separation, and then we create culture around that separation. And this has always been true of human culture. I don't know about all the way back to Blombo's cave, but it seems likely. But certainly if you look around the world, cross-culturally, this is true. And that's what this project is, Project 9. Students, it gives them an opportunity to read these different poems from different societies, from different times, like thousands of years apart and half a world apart, and yet there's still this theme that is instantly recognizable. And that theme is that somebody suffers from being separated from someone they love. Seems obvious. Animals also do this, some animals. And but in this case, humans also write about it, and they write poems about it. So the project is really quite simple, but I think it's also very interesting. Then at the top of page 51, there's just a brief paragraph that is a great opportunity for discussion. The workbook, the secondary texts can be quite short sometimes, but introduce large concepts and large ideas. In this case, archetypes and the principle of archetypes. And then, of course, the discussion of archetypes could lead to down all kinds of paths, discussing psychology and dreams and myths and universals in our psychology, in our imagery, in our language, and so on. So there's a lot of rich material just in this short paragraph available for discussion. But if one chooses to just read it and move on, that's fine. However, this paragraph does refer ahead to Project 11, Universals in Literature, Part 2. And this question could be answered by a discussion of archetypes. Archetypes, interestingly, still an active theme in anthropology, but not so active in psychology. So this is the way that things come and go through disciplines. Then there's this section on myth. Obviously, any discussion of human universals really has to discuss myth. Even though there are national myths, there are cultural myths, there are family myths, there are myths of almost any size of people or institution or organization or tribe or kinship group, still there are themes and models that are famously universal. And of course, Joseph Campbell has discussed a couple of these. So there's a reference to Joseph Campbell and to types of myths. Of course, creation myths are universal. Not only creation of humanity or of the world or of the universe, but the creation and the origins of our family. When I was doing research for my ancestors book, I asked a lot of people about the origins of their families. Most people had some kind of family origin story. It often involved three brothers. Three brothers came out of the desert. Well, three brothers emigrated from Ukraine. Three brothers, obviously the family didn't really begin with those three brothers, but this is the way that the story is constructed, and there's a reason why people want to identify an origin of their people or their family or their group or whatever it is. So here's some examples of myths, brief examples of myths from Middle America, from Latin America, from Native America, and so on, and then from the Mahabharata. When I discuss this in class, in a discussion setting, I ask about American myths. And there's kind of a misreading by a lot of students about what some American myths are. The students often say things like Paul Bunyan, but Paul Bunyan isn't really exactly a myth. I mean, it is a story, and it's a story that has a message and a moral, and so in that sense it's a myth. But it's not a myth in the sense that it can't be true. I mean, the Paul Bunyan story is impossible to be true. And I think a true myth is not true, but it's not false either. And clearly the Paul Bunyan story is false. I mean, there was never some giant guy who had a blue ox the size of the Empire State Building and ran across the West. And so, but I do understand there are still principles of Paul Bunyan, the advance of the West and the frontier and hard work and so on. But I think a much better example of American myths is the myth of an American immigrant who moves from Europe or wherever or China for that matter, or Philippines or Spain, and gets a low-paying job, works super hard, long hours, makes enough money to send back to the home country and bring over a couple more of usually it's his family members. Those family members also work hard. They acquire just enough property and wealth to start their own business, and then they start to build on that business, and then they become successful. And that's the myth of the American dream and the American immigrant. It's quite a common story. It's not false. I mean, this has happened, but it's also not true, because until it has a name and a date and an identifier, it's not true. It's a myth. And the myth is it's instantly recognized, I think, by almost all Americans, that regardless of where they came from, if they came from Mexico or if they came from Navajo country or wherever they came from, they recognize that myth as a national myth, as a myth identifying the American identity. And of course, the messages have to do with hard work and with reward and with opportunity and hope and all kinds of things. That's a myth. It's neither true nor false. As soon as you put assign a name to it and a date, then it becomes true or false. It becomes historical. But there are also myths that follow this other model that's identified in the text, and that model is the hero myth. The hero myth is a recognizable model. People see it all the time in all kinds of popular literature, in classical literature, and in movies, and so on. And in the Mahabharata, there is within this just very brief passage of this enormous text, there's an example of the hero myth. And the hero leaves his home, leaves his people, which is the separation, and goes on a course of study, which is some kind of initiation, and then returns. And return is really the point of the hero myth. That I think which separates it or distinguishes hero myth from the idea of a hero, or the common definition of a hero. The hero in a hero myth is not necessarily a hero in the sense that it's a man who triumphs or something. That may be true, but the hero brings that triumph back, and to benefit his people or her people, and that's really the point of the hero myth. Without the return, there is no hero myth. The initiation is variable. There's going to be wins and losses with an initiation. The separation is also kind of variable, but there is a separation, but it may be from a village, or it may be from a parent, or maybe the father died and the father separated, or it could be a lot of different things. It could be that that Jesus went off in the desert and sat on top of the mountain and was tempted by the devil. Those are all myths, and the goal of all of those myths is the return, to help out the hero's people, and that's what makes them a hero. So if you ask students who is a hero, well, they may say a soldier who dies to save her fellow soldiers or something like that. That's a hero, but that's not a hero myth, because a hero myth, the hero has to come back, has to return. So in the Mahabharata, I asked students to identify the hero myth and to identify all three elements of it and three components. And then we discuss it. But even doing this class remotely, it's still, I think, a very strong project, because they're getting a little taste of reading the Mahabharata. Okay, it's in translation, but it's still a primary source. They learn the main terms of the Mahabharata. They see a brief description of it, and now they've read a little of the primary source themselves and even interpreted it, which I think is empowering and enlightening. I have to say, a lot of students say that the hero myth in that, the three stages of the hero myth in that that excerpt are when the Brahmin throws the ball down the well and then retrieves it. But that, of course, makes no sense. The ball can't be a hero, and the ball doesn't go through any particular initiation, as far as I can tell, whereas Brahman clearly has. See you next time.